Hi guys, today I'm going to be showing you how I made my reverse layers card that I entered in the My Favorite Things Clean and Simple challenge. So for this challenge, it needed to be clean and simple using only My Favorite Things products. So for this, I'm going to be using puddle jumpers and rain or shine stamps and coordinating dies. For supplies, in order to do this, you're going to need your stamp set, your coordinating dies. You may be able to use a scan and cut, but I don't know how to do that, so I'm only going to be able to tell you how to do it with dies. You're going to need a stamp platform, a couple pieces of scrap paper, and whatever type of paper you're going to use for your coloring medium. So for me, it's going to be, I'm going to do this with my Copic markers, so I'm going to use Copic friendly paper. You're going to need two of these panels, so you only need to use one of your Copic friendly, and the other can be, whatever cardstock you have. So I just used plain 110-pound white cardstock for my second piece that's cut the same. And these are going to fit. These panels are 4¼ by 5½, and I will use the stitched rectangle die to cut it down just a little bit more so it'll fit on an A2 size card with the border for the A2 size card. It's going to be pretty much, the orientation is going to be the same as the first card. I'm using the little boy, and I'm going to position this so that I can put the sentiment on the bottom because I want to make sure I have enough room when I add my puddle and my clouds and my sun to the image that I will be coloring. I want to make sure I have enough room for the sentiment to fit at the bottom. So for this, we're going to be doing some masking. I don't have any masking paper on hand right now, and I don't really, since I'm not going to be doing any ink blending, I don't need it to be that strong. So I'm just going to use double-sided tape and some copy paper. And copy paper is probably, because it's nice and thin, it's probably the best, cheapest thing that you can use for your other piece of paper that I told you needed. So we're just going to stamp a couple times. I'm going to stamp this to make sure it's a nice crisp image. And then I'm going to take 1/2 of my copy paper and I'm going to stamp it again. And my ink pad's a little dry, so I'll just ink it up and do it again. This one will be my mask, and then again we're going to do the same thing again, ink it up, and this one we're going to set off to the side. So this one will cut out and turn into our mask, and I'm just going to cut where I know I'm going to need it to be masked. So basically the feet and then where the clouds and the sun are going to go. So I'm going to use my double-sided adhesive, and I'm going to attach my mask over my little image there. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I said. We're not doing any blending, so we just want to cover him. So now we're going to start layering our next layer. So this one's going to have 3 layers, the puddle and the clouds and the little water droplets. And I thought I wanted to add him to him, but I think I'm going to do the same thing as I did on the other card, where I'm just going to do him separate. So we'll put the little water droplets near where he's splashing in the puddle, and 2 of the clouds behind his umbrella. And that will be it for layer number 2. And layer number 3 will just be the sun poking up behind the cloud at the top of his umbrella. And we will stamp that onto our Copic friendly paper. We're also going to stamp that onto our sheet that we are keeping off to the side. So this is basically a template for your stencils, not your stencils, for your dies. So you want to keep that off to the side. And then I need to make a mask for the one cloud on the top so that the sun can sit behind that. So we'll just add that and stamp the sun. So your paper that's off to the side that you want to keep adding each layer to doesn't have to be perfect or pretty. And the thinner the paper, which is why I say copy paper, the better, because you're going to be using your dies, and it's going to need to cut through the copy paper and whatever paper for me it's 110-pound white cardstock, so it's going to need to cut through both layers. So you don't want anything thick or else you're probably not going to be able to cut through both layers. So here I go to stamp my sun. Stamp my sun on my template. That's just going to sit off to the side and wait until we get to that step. And I'm just going to clean off my stamps and take all my masks off. And there's my image that I will be coloring with my Copic markers. So I picked some fall colors from some fall paper, and I just kind of matched them with my Copic markers. I colored him in. Nothing special, just some nice bright colors. And then I used a die to cut out the little ducky that I did. So now is when you're going to use your stencil. Not stencil. I don't know what to call it, but as you can see, both of those, if you still use your stamp positioner or your stamp platform, and you line them up the same way as you did when you stamped it, everything is going to line up perfectly. So you're going to use that as a template, that's what I meant to say, template for your dies. So, and we're going to cut them out basically in the same order as what you stamped them in. So we're going to start with the boy, and we're going to run him through the die machine. And then we're just going to keep going in layers. So next will be the little water droplets, and I'm going to speed this up quite a bit. You know, it's pretty, just like every other time you use your dies, nothing special. We're going to put the clouds on. The water I couldn't do because it was too close to the water droplet, so the little puddle will go with the sun, which will be the last layer that I cut out. And the last two is the sun and the puddle, and we'll run those through the die machine. And this is pretty much it. This is very easy, I think, a very easy way to give a clean and simple card that extra something. So once you remove all your little pieces there and get rid of your little adhesive that was holding my thing on there, we want to put our sentiment on there because you're going to be popping that panel up. Any stamping you're going to do on this, you want to do before you put all of your foam adhesive on the back. So just making sure that's going to fit with my little duck that I already die cut out. And I'm going to use my embossing powder. So I'm going to use my Nuvo ink pad and some, I think I used the Wow, which is great fine detail embossing powder. It's so shiny and crisp. I love that stuff. And I finally got the white Wow fine detail white embossing powder, which I've been trying to get for a while, and I keep forgetting to add it to my basket. And I finally added it to the basket. So we're just going to put this on a couple of times, make sure I didn't miss any spots. And then I'm going to heat set that. And here's the sentiment that I chose for this one. I'm going to set that off to the side because now we're going to work on our card panel, or our card base, I should say. And I picked yellow because it kind of goes good with this little rain slicker. And I'm going to use my stitch rectangle dies on both the panel that we colored and the panel that we die cut. And since they line up perfectly, if you use the same die for both, you will still line up perfectly when you're done cutting out the stitched edges. And I didn't show me lining up the die and cutting out the top, but I did cut out the top panel as well. Now I'm going to just attach my colored panel straight to my card base. Center it right in the middle. And then for the top piece, see how it still lines up perfect. We're just going to flip it over and we're going to start putting some foam adhesive on the back. And I'm going to cover pretty much every little inch of this because I don't want any parts of it to dip down when you touch it. I want it to all stand up away from the colored image. And I got this foam adhesive at the dollar store, so I don't mind using a ton of it. It didn't cost very much. Now we're just going to line that top piece to the bottom and push it down. And then we're just going to take our little ducky that we already cut and colored, and we're going to attach it next to that sentiment, and that will finish our card. Because this is a clean and simple card, I'm not going to do anything else to the top. I kind of feel like if you did anything else, it would be kind of ruining the clean and simple look. But of course, you guys do, you could do all kinds of stuff to this. You could even do this with pattern paper. But here's my 2 cards. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again real soon. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.